In the hush between cherry blossoms and the first warm breath of true spring, Kusunoki's Garden of Gods Episode 6 delivers something rarer than spectacle. The quiet terror of becoming more than human while desperately clinging to what makes you you. This is an episode that breathes. It lingers in the sunlight filtering through new leaves, in the steam of a hot spring, and in the trembling space between a mortal heart and the divine powers it now carries. This is a healing episode that refuses to be merely comforting. It is tender, funny, wistful, and unexpectedly profound. A gentle hand placed on the shoulder of anyone who has ever feared that growth might cost them their soul. Through food, nature, absurd kami visitors, and devastatingly honest conversation, the series reminds us that spring is not just beauty, it is transformation, and transformation is always a little frightening. The episode opens in soft domestic worry. Birdie, Ho-Oh, remains unconscious after overexerting his power, and Minato's quiet anxiety reveals how deeply these supernatural beings have become his family. Yet even in concern, there's warmth. Yamagami's calm reassurance that Ho-Oh isn't the type to croak so easily carries the easy affection of long companionship. Minato's central struggle emerges clearly. He wants to master the sealing power granted by the goddess, not for glory, but to help others, specifically Mr. Harima and those burdened by exorcism. The training scenes are charmingly clumsy. His attempts to contain his overflowing power, visualized as smoke, using a wooden box, feel both comedic and poignant. He is trying to cage something wild inside himself, a perfect metaphor for his deeper fear. The emotional core of the episode blooms during a seemingly simple outing. Yamagami, noticing Minato pushing himself too hard, takes him bamboo shoot digging. What begins as a comedic rural adventure, Minato without a hoe, a massive bear, one of Yamagami's minions, appearing, slowly transforms into something sacred. Sharing raw bamboo shoots with wasabi, the joy of seasonal produce, the playful shogi collapse game that descends into Yamagami's comically intense frustration. You piece of wood. These moments are not filler. They are medicine. The arrival of other kami deepens the tapestry. Ebisu, Ebi, the fishing god, brings cheerful chaos and taiyaki, while Tsumuji, minion of the neighboring mountain god, arrives with earnest admiration and homemade Inaruzushi appreciation. These encounters are delightful, but they also serve as mirrors. Minato is becoming someone known in the kami world. He is no longer just a human living among gods. He is changing. The episode's emotional climax arrives in a quiet garden conversation. Minato confronts the truth. Living with kami, receiving their powers, being pulled into their realms, has distanced him from humanity. Straying off quite a bit, as Ebisu observed. In a moment of raw vulnerability, Minato asks the question that has likely haunted him. Will I be able to die a human? Yamagami's response is devastatingly simple and deeply loving. Even with powers, you are still you, I promise. It is one of the most tenderly romantic reassurances in recent anime memory, not through grand declarations, but through absolute certainty in Minato's essential self. Minato is undergoing a classic yet exquisitely executed identity crisis. He is empathetic, diligent, and self-sacrificing, but his greatest fear is dissolution, losing the core of his humanity. His growth is measured not in power levels, but in his increasing ability to communicate with animals, his openness to joy, and his willingness to voice his deepest fears. He is learning that power doesn't have to corrupt or erase. It can coexist with gentleness. Yamagami shines as the emotional anchor. The mountain god is ancient, powerful, and occasionally terrifying, as seen in his treatment of rude humans. Yet with Minato he is patient, playful, and profoundly protective. His decision to drag Minato away from training for bamboo shoots reveals deep emotional intelligence. He understands that healing sometimes requires stepping away from the work. The way he says, I promise, carries centuries of weight. The supporting kami, Ebisu, and Tsumuji function as delightful mirrors and catalysts, showing different expressions of divine existence, cheerful, earnest, proud of their domains, making Minato's internal conflict feel more universal. The episode weaves several profound threads: the terror and beauty of transformation. Spring itself is change. Cherry blossoms, bamboo shoots, new life, all transient yet renewing. Minato's fear mirrors this natural cycle. Emotional safety in the divine. The garden becomes a sanctuary where a human can voice his greatest existential dread and receive not platitudes, but genuine assurance. The sacredness of the mundane. Raw bamboo shoots, Inaruzushi, shogi collapse games, hot springs. These simple pleasures become spiritual acts. Found family across realms. The blending of human and kami existence creates something new and precious. The atmosphere is overwhelmingly vernal. One can almost feel the cool mountain air, smell the cherry blossoms and fresh soil. The pacing is masterful. Breathing room between comedic beats allows emotional undercurrents to surface naturally. Silence and ambient sound, warbling birds, the crunch of bamboo, likely carry as much weight as dialogue. Recurring motifs of containment, the box, sealing power, even the collapse game, contrast beautifully with images of openness, the garden, the hot spring, shared food. The seasonal aesthetic is used with poetic precision. Spring isn't background, it is metaphor and mirror. The bamboo shoot meal, pure joy mixed with subtle character work. The bear's gift and Minato's growing ability to understand animals mark quiet growth. The shogi collapse game, hilarious yet revealing. Yamagami's competitive frustration humanizes the god beautifully. The final garden conversation, the emotional peak. Minato's vulnerability meeting Yamagami's steadfast promise creates one of the most moving moments of the series so far. Ebisu and Tsumuji's visits, perfectly balanced comedy and world-building that never undercuts the deeper themes. Kusunoki's Garden of Gods Episode 6 is a small masterpiece of slice-of-life fantasy. It understands that the most powerful stories aren't always about saving the world. They're about saving yourself while the world and its gods watch with love. This episode whispers something profound. Becoming more doesn't mean losing what you are. Sometimes the greatest power is the courage to remain tender. In a garden where gods and humans share bamboo shoots and quiet promises, Kusunoki's Garden of Gods reminds us that spring, true spring, arrives not just in the world, but within the heart willing to change while staying true to it. Leaves you with sunlight on your skin, the taste of fresh bamboo on your tongue, and a quiet, aching hope that wherever your own transformation leads, someone will still see you, and in that promise, the garden blooms.